Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. So we're going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days. For today's video, day 10 will take us to the 11th of October. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that via GFS and ECM ensembles. May run around a couple of weeks. Have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for October. I'll get on that for you in a second. Just say about the first video release today was our 7 AM forecast with release January Friday as well. And if that wasn't enough, we've got Terry Scully's October forecast coming up for you this evening and around 7 PM. And they'll be live streaming after 10 o'clock. So it's Friday. It means we've got to do a Friday night live stream. And that'll be coming up for you after 10. I shall see you then. Hopefully, I'll tell you what's coming up over the weekend at the end of the video. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. I've got to put on around 34 subscribers to get to 12.2k. Please give us a sub if you'd like to do that. Thank you so much for doing that. Right, before I do anything else, I've got to just say about this. So, this is the pillow won by our second competition winner. So, this is Fizz Demons pillow, arrived yesterday. So, there it is in all of its glory. The GavsWeatherVids pillow is now with Fizz, and I think Fizz is very happy, very pleased about his pillow. So, yeah, well done, Fizz, and of course, well done yesterday to Daniel as well, who received his pillow too. So that's both of our merch winners now with their GavsWeatherVids merch. And it's incredible, it's amazing. Well done to both Fizz and also to Daniel as well. And I hope you enjoy your GavsWeatherVids merch, your GavsWeatherVids pillows both. There will be more giveaways as well and whatnot. I think the next one will probably be an Amazon voucher. If we can get ourselves to 13k before Christmas, that would be nice, wouldn't it, to do an Amazon voucher for a giveaway for Christmas. So that'll probably be the next one if we can get to 13k before Christmas. So we should just have to see about that. It may be after Christmas, and if so, we'll still do a giveaway, but we'll have another think about that then. But if it's before Christmas, definitely I think we'll do an Amazon voucher at 13k. For somebody I spent some money, you know, for Christmas at Amazon. What else was I going to tell you? Yeah, if you want to buy the pillow, by the way, or any other GavsWeatherVids merch, just go to GavsWeatherVids Spring store. It used to be Teespring, now just Spring, I think. Go to our store, check out the merch. You can find the link in the description, and also there's like a little bar underneath this video on YouTube, all of the videos actually, where you can see, you know, the merch listing. So, yeah, amazing, incredible. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, let's crack on then. We're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic, as we always do at the moment, with such an active season. So we've got Hurricane Sam and Tropical Storm Victor. Let's deal with Victor first of all. There he is, giving maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, with minimum central pressure of 997 millibars, moving northwestwards at 15 miles per hour, clinging on Victor. This was forecast yesterday to reach Category 1 hurricane status. Now it looks like it's going to stay as a tropical storm. Composition is just there. Will remain as a tropical storm through to the beginning of next week, and then go tropical depression, and then go post-tropical as Victor moves northwards. We've also got Hurricane Sam. It's a very long-lasting, very, very powerful hurricane. So this is a high-end Category 4 hurricane, giving maximum sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, only 7 miles an hour off Category 5. Can you believe that? With a minimum central pressure of 934 millibars, exceptionally low pressure, moving pretty rapidly to 17 miles per hour north-northwestwards. Clicking on Sam, the forecast of this is taking it away from Bermuda, so going to sort of pass to the east of Bermuda, the Bermuda Islands, heading in that direction. Still a major hurricane tomorrow, weakening through to Sunday, and then early next week moving into the cooler waters of the North Atlantic up here, and weakening as it does so, going post-tropical as it gets into the cooler waters of the the North Atlantic. So if we go to discussion, where is it? There it is. We can see that at the moment it's about as powerful as it's going to get, actually. Maximum sustained winds of 150 miles an hour. So it's going to stay just shy of a Category 5 hurricane. It will gradually start to weaken then. So get down to 145 miles per hour in 12 hours, 130 miles an hour, sustained in 24 hours, and so on, all the way down to 75 miles an hour maximum sustained, which is still very powerful, but by then it is a post-tropical or extratropical storm. So yeah, this has been a very long-lasting and very powerful storm. Of course, the only reason we haven't heard all that much about it is because it's been centered in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, not impacting any land areas. Had this gone into the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico or up the east coast of America, we would have heard a lot about this major hurricane, Sam. But thankfully, luckily, it's generally stayed out in the middle of the ocean and hasn't caused too many problems. I think it will still bring some impacts to Bermuda. It's going to get quite close to Bermuda, but not going to be a direct hit, I don't think. So yeah, that's what they're saying. There's a lot to read about in the Farnborough International Hurricane Centre, of course, on the in the description. Right, okay, let's have a look at central temperature then. It's in for September, so I've been keeping an eye on this all month. This CT page at the UK Met, listing every month's worth of CT temperatures back to 1659. It's the longest and most reliable long-term temperature record anywhere on Earth. Of course, the further back you go, the more unreliable it gets. But even so, even back in 1700 and 1600, it's not going to be hugely far away from what happened in those years and on those months. So yeah, you know, it's the most reliable that we have, really, in terms of a long-term temperature record. We come down through the centuries and whatnot, and we get down to the current year of 2021, just there, of course. We see that the central temperature for September 2021 comes in at 15.9. So actually just short of 16 degrees. Had quite a big downwards correction again this month. Of course, we did have the cooler days, you know, for the last week of the month anyway. Even with that, though, there has been a bit of a downwards correction as well. So that takes us just under 16 degrees. So actually we did fall just shy of 16 degrees. Of course, quite a long way off from the warmest September on record, which was up here in 2006, which came out at 16.8. We're nearly a degree lower than the hottest September on record for CT. 0.1 of a degree, slightly 0.1 of a degree above August CT. You'll notice that. August CT comes out 15.8, September at 15.9. Not much in it, but yes, just ever so slightly above August, which is unusual. You know, that doesn't happen very often, that you will have September coming out warmer than the August before it, because, of course, it's a cooling time of year on average, so you expect September to be cooler than August. But it does happen on occasion. Last time it happens was 2014, when we had... When it does happen, it tends to happen because you have a notably cool August, though. And this is one of those occasions. So, in 2014, had August CT at 14.9. That was a very, very chilly August, coldest August since 1993. And then September came in at 15.1. So that's a little bit more understandable, given that we had such a cool August in 2014. But this time we didn't have a particularly cool August, really. You know, it wasn't all that far from the 61 to 90 average, although it was a little bit cooler than 81 to 2010. But yeah, cooler September than August. That's quite unusual. Of course, that's what's a very strange year. So we have January cold average at 3.1, have February and March a significantly mild average at 5.1, 7.2. We have our coldest April since 1986 at 6.4. Our coldest May since 1996 at 10.1. And then we have a warm June and July combination at 15.5 and 17.7. The last time, the only time I think in the CT that we have May colder than, but we have April colder than March and September warmer than August. The only time that happens in the central England temperature was many, many, many years ago, centuries ago, actually back in 1750. I'm off on a bit of a tangent on this. I'm so sorry about that, everyone. 1750. This year, just here, we have March at 8.2, April at 7.7, so April colder than March, and then we have August at 15.0, and September at 15.2. I found this out from Schreier. My good friend Schreiber. That's the only time, and that's the only time that you have in the same calendar year that you have April colder than March and September warmer than August in the same year. Wow. So that's going back a long, long time, isn't it? All the way back to 1750. So it just goes to show how bizarre 2021 is. Very, 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 very strange year. Let's go back down to the current year. It's been a very, very strange bizarre year. And so, I mean, we're going to look at September data for the winter update for part 2 of the 5th winter update on Monday in terms of what this very warm September could mean for the coming winter. But, you know, it's such a strange year, but I would not rule anything out at this stage. It's been a very, very, very bizarre year of weather so far, and, you know, just got to wait and see what happens next. By the way, the last time we had CT in September above 15 degrees, so 16 degrees or more, was actually in 2016, that year just there. But the year before it, of course, was quite cold for the CT for September at 12.6. So September been very variable over the past sort of decade or so. There's an idea that's doing the rounds that September is always hot. It's not the case for the CT. We did go through a run of, you know, consistently very warm to hot Septembers back in the late 1990s and into 2000s. But since 2006, we have the hottest September on record. Actually, been very, very variable. It's been a very variable month for the CET. And I mean, just last year we was at 13.9, so not much to write home about at all. Very close to average. A little bit above average in 2019, 14.3. Two cooler Septembers, 13.5, 13.7, 2016, 2017, very warm September, 2016, a cold September, in 2014, a very warm September, in 2014, about average, 2013, cold average in 2012, warm average 2011, close to average 2010, a bit above average 2009, a bit below average 2008, about average 2007, and then the hottest September on record in 2006. So since 2006, September been a very variable month. It's not the case that September is very significantly hotter than average every single year. That was the case in the late 90s and up to 2006, but since then have had a lot of September variability. Right, sorry about that, everybody. I'm off on a tangent, but I want to get all of that out. Let's crack on then. So we're going to start off, well, not start off, but we're going to move through to model data. So we're starting off with model data, I suppose, with the GFS upper air temperature precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Coventry. And we're starting off below average for Coventry over next week. It is going to be quite a cool sort of first week to October. But a bit of a warm-up coming up later on next week. Not excessive, but yes, the upper air temperature's warming up a bit later on next week, and then probably close to average as we're moving into the middle part of October. Lot of rainfall to come. Yes, it's going to be a bit of a deluge over the weekend and possibly again early next week. Plenty of wet weather to come later next week. It looks like a bit of a drying trend there for a few days anyway, as we turn from the first week to second week of October, and then probably getting a bit more unsettled again into the towards the middle part of the month. Probably getting a little bit more unsettled at that point. Temperature anomalies on the first through to 9th of October going to be a little bit above average. Maybe a surprise given that graph. I would have thought, you know, the anomalies like to be cooler than average. I can only think that night temperatures must be holding things up a little bit there. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise. Also got the precipitation anomaly from the 1st of 9th September looking wetter than average. Latest wind from that from earth.nullschool.net shows that low pressure is dominating the weather. Low pressure is in control of the weather. It's sitting to the north of Scotland, and we're bringing in westerly winds as well, by the way. And there's more low pressure downstream waiting to come in over the next few days. Right, we're going to go through some model data next, I think. Okay, here we go then. So we're going to start off with UK Met at the weather outlook. This is how UK Met is looking for midnight on Monday. By the way, when I paused the video just then, I was getting up November data, a little bit of November data from the CFS, so you won't just see October's CFS monthly forecast, for October. You will see for the opening salvo from the CFS for November as well, in around 5 to 10 minutes time, so hang around for that. Right, UK Met though, for Monday. Low pressure dominating, looks cool and unsettled. More low pressure into Tuesday, that will bring a bit of a deluge potentially to southern parts of the country. Then higher pressure making its move around the middle part of next week, turning drier and potentially warmer as high pressure begins to build up from the south, particularly for England and Wales, turning things dry. Still looks a little bit unsettled though, probably quite wet actually for Scotland and Northern Ireland with its long fetch southwest wind. That's definitely increasing the temperature though for the second half of next week and turning things drier down south. That of course in response to Hurricane Sam. Now we've got to stay for weather outlook to have a look at the GEM because it still hasn't updated at VATAR. So instead we will have a look at the GEM at the weather outlook. Here we go then, starting off unsettled with plenty of low pressure dominating the weather as we go through the early part of next week. Then middle of next week, high pressure will begin to take over from the Azores. Here it comes, pushing up from the southwest. So that's turning us dry, especially across England and Wales, and warmer through the second half of next week. Low pressure being held at bay out in the Atlantic until towards daytime and having to go at pushing through. But even then, there's going to be high pressure to our south and east. So definitely, we've got UK Met and the GEM trying to get us back to high pressure. Again, trying to get us back to September pattern, I suppose, through the second half of next week and into the second weekend of October. Right, GFS data looks like this. Low pressure again is dominating weather on Monday. That will give us an unsettled start next week. The next low rattling in off the Atlantic on Tuesday. Plenty of rain with that. Around the middle part of next week. Then that gets out of the way. This low just here is the remains of Hurricane Sam. I'll highlight it. There it is. The response to that is start to build up high pressure to our south and east as the low pressure away to the north and west, is pumping up warmth from the tropical Atlantic, and the response is to bring heavy rain to west of Scotland and also to build up a ridge just to our south and east. So increasingly going towards high pressure up towards day 10 with the midnight GFS run. There we are, we're under an area of high pressure by day 10 on Monday the 11th of October. And beyond that, it looks like we keep high pressure to our south-southeast, very unsettled to the northwest, so plenty of rain in Scotland, Northern Ireland, till later on, and then the high pressure really takes over as we get to the end of a GFS run today, which today gets us to the 17th of October. I wonder who's having their birthday on the 17th of October. I wonder. We're under high pressure then. Lots of dry weather and probably reasonably warm, but could be quite chilly at night, and you wouldn't rule out mist and fog with that either. There's been a shift in the model output today back towards higher pressure from the second half of next week. This, as I said, is looking again unsettled as we begin next week with low pressure in off the Atlantic, bringing plenty of wet weather into the second half of next week, though high pressure taking over to our south and east in response to Hurricane Sam in the middle of the North Atlantic. High pressure increasingly dominates the weather as we move up towards day 10. So there we are, we get to day 10, Monday the 11th of October. We're back under a large ridge of high pressure. Remember, GavsWeatherVids autumn forecast always suggested that September and October would have a lot of high pressure. I was having a bit of a wobble about that, with the unsettled charts we've seen just recently, but maybe October will get back to high pressure again. In the extended range, a high pressure really dominates the weather, centres towards Scandinavia, and we pull in these winds from an easterly direction. So although the high pressure in control then, the upper air temperatures are actually quite warm. It's not necessarily all that warm on the surface. That could be bringing in quite cool air from off the continent, especially so at night with the risk of fog and also, at the very least, ground frost, I would have thought. So that sort of thing we have to, if that came off the middle of October, 17th of October, it's kind of chart where we have to drill down into the detail, see what's happening with cloud cover, see what's happening with dew points, and so on. It's not straightforwardly warm with high pressure there, like over Denmark, at that time of year in the middle of October. So, you know, we'll have to see closer to the time what actually is going on with the atmosphere there. ECM looks like this. If you enjoyed the video, please give a smash like button to make sure to the channel. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think. ECM looking like that, very unsettled as we go into the beginning of next week. Low pressure will bring further bouts of rain up to the middle of next week. Second half of next week, actually, ECM looks more unsettled generally. Most parts of the country, the high pressure building to our south over France, but not really exerting its influence northwards all that much. So out of all of the models, I think the ECM is the most unsettled through the second half of next week and into the second weekend of October. This is the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Tometeo.com, and obviously there's going to be plenty of rain coming and going over the next few days. Wet and windy into the open part of next week. Just carries on all the way up to day 10. Really never really settles down with the ECM, unlike the other models where we do see it settling down, especially across England and Wales. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. It gets us to the 11th of October from the Icelandic Met Office. 31 members of the ECM ensembles have low pressure just out to our west, high pressure to our east. That's trying to settle things down, but still probably a bit unsettled, especially for western areas. Does include the control and the operation run. And then 20 have the high pressure taking over from Scandinavia. And so that is going to be a drier option. The low pressure is further away from us and weaker in the middle of the North Atlantic. That is getting us back to high pressure by day 10. It's in line, I suppose, with what a lot of the other model output is showing today. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets to 16th of October. 31 members of the ECM ensembles then have high pressure dominating from Scandinavia. And we're bringing in winds from an east or southeasterly direction. So, we'll be relatively dry, I would have thought, with that. Could be some lower pressure to our southwest and west, though. But let's say that's relatively dry. Not straightforwardly warm. It depends what sort of air mass we're bringing in off the continent. And then 20, including the control run, have low pressure north Scotland to Scandinavia. High pressure looking like it's setting up around Greenland and trying to get wind into a northwest or northerly. So that could be turning colder there into middle of October. Right, just finished with CFS V2. So these are 700 mil. This is the 700 millibar height only, I should say, from a CFS for October. This is the final salvo from the CFS monthlies for October. Overall looking unsettled with below average heights just to our west, above average heights up towards Greenland and Canada. So temperature anomaly for October is very close to average, and precipitation anomaly is actually a bit wetter than average, especially so for England and Wales. So go for quite a wet, unsettled October. Now, do you want to see November? This is a little bit of a surprise. I paused the video and thought I'd have a quick look, see if the CFS first monthly chart was up for November. It is. So this is it. This is how the CFS looks for November in terms of its monthly 700 millibar height anomaly today. That's it. And so it goes for a cold November across Scandinavia and Northern Europe with its trough of below average heights in across Scandi and Northern Europe. You know, that would bring potentially really quite cold and unsettled weather to Northern Europe. We have an area of above average heights just to our west, a mid-Atlantic ridge trying to extend towards Greenland. And so for us, we're probably quite cool there. We are sort of on the periphery of the cold weather that's across Northern Europe. You'd only have to back that high pressure back a little bit further, you know, towards Greenland. And we would open the door to proper northerly winds. So the opening salvo looks very interesting, actually, for November. This is a temperature anomaly in November, near normal for the UK and Ireland. We see that some parts of Scandinavia look a little bit colder than average, and it does look quite cold, really, generally, across many parts of Europe, average to below. But most notable is how cold it's going across Canada. Look at that extreme cold air setting up over Canada. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it looks a big change, that temperature anomaly compared to October. That's the October temperature anomaly forecast in North America, Canada. That's it for November, and very extremely cold month for northern and western parts of Canada. And precipitation-wise, come back to the point. Precipitation-wise, for November, Looks a little bit average to drier than average, which of course you expect with high pressure sort of blocking off the Atlantic. So quite an interesting opening salvo there from the CFS for November. Could we have a chilly November? Could we? We'll find out. Remember, the GavsWeatherVids autumn forecast went for a lot of dry weather and mild weather for September and October. Then we predicted there could be a flip in November. We were unsure what that flip would be. Would it be to something colder? Would it be to something wetter? You know, we wait and see. Interesting. Right, if you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, make sure to sub to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids as well, and your family. Get them to subscribe too. I say, we're only going to put on just over 30 subscribers now to get 12.2k. And that's great. And if you do subscribe, you're going to be able to see future weather content, future live streams, and giveaways. You know, we like to have a giveaway on the channel. So yeah, please give us a sub, and thank you so much for doing that. Right, coming up later on, we're going to have Toast Scholars October forecast. I'll be live streaming after 10 o'clock, so I shall see you all then for this one. Been a bit of an extended one for this one. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.